This Memorial Day weekend, one local American Legion post is doing their part in honoring the fallen. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi shares with us why those who have served themselves want to remind people that Memorial Day is more than just a day off.
Everybody thinks this is a 3-day weekend. Well, there's a big reason why we have the weekend.
At cemeteries throughout Arkansas, small American flags are taking root again, one by one being placed with care and purpose.
We honor the veterans that's fallen. We also honor the veterans that have passed away that fought in those campaigns.
Dyer Carithers is the commander of American Legion Post 100 in Rogers. He says a team of veterans and community members are placing more than 1,000 flags over the Memorial Day weekend, a tradition the post has honored for years.
Before I ever got into this post was putting the flags on the graves and just continue it. It's just respect for the veterans.
Last year, the Legion placed flags at the Rogers Cemetery the day before a tornado struck. But something remarkable happened.
We put the flags out the day before the tornado. And we all was saying, oh no. But when we went back and looked at Rogers Cemetery, 90% of the flags were still there. Trees were down, things was tore up. 90% of the flags were still at the grave.
Carithers says while enjoying the day off, people should take a second to remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
If they would think of the freedoms and the rights that they have, and then walk out and look at the flags that's on the graves, or go out and just visit one, just remember they went on, give their life so we can have our freedoms.
In Rogers, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
National cemeteries are also marking Memorial Day and remembering those who died serving our country. This is video of the Little Rock National Cemetery. Organizers of the efforts say they want to make sure that we remember those who were lost in service. Our local national cemeteries are also hosting special events this Memorial Day weekend. The Fort Smith National Cemetery is holding a remembrance ceremony tomorrow afternoon at 2, and in Fayetteville, a ceremony is happening on Memorial Day at 10 a.m. Both ceremonies will feature wreath-laying, music, and guest speakers. Another Memorial Day weekend tradition also happened today. President Donald Trump delivered remarks to the graduating class of cadets at West Point. It's his 5th address to the newly commissioned officers at the nation's top military academy. The class includes nearly 1,000 people who will now begin their careers as military officers.
Each of you on the field today is among the most talented members of your generation. You could have done anything you wanted. You could have gone anywhere. You could have gone to any school. This is one of the hardest schools to get into. And writing your own ticket to top jobs on Wall Street or Silicon Valley wouldn't be bad, but I think what you're doing is better.
Among the people in attendance for today's commencement was Congressman Steve Womack. He says 6 of the graduates today come from communities in the 3rd Congressional District. Tyson Barber of Fayetteville, Leighton Elmore of Fort Smith, Aidan Looney of Bentonville, Gary Phillips of Van Buren, Luke Rucker of Springdale, and Cale Sheets of Fort Smith. Congratulations to all 6 who are now newly commissioned officers after completing their time at West Point. The Arkansas Special Olympics Summer Games have been happening this week at Harding University in Searcy. Carter Threet was there for the final day where some of the youngest athletes had their time in the spotlight.
For 7-year-old Maggie, it's the Special Olympics Young Athletes program that's the highlight of her weekend. Addie Bell has been working with the program since the 5th grade and explains how it helps the little ones compete and gain valuable skills.
Our Young Athletes program is for ages 2 to 7 for kids with and without intellectual disabilities, and we really focus on the developmental skills in sports.
For Bell, she says the love and support that they can show the kids and the kids show them keeps her coming back. Cammie Powell would say the same, and as someone who's worked for the Special Olympics since 2013 and been volunteering longer than that, she's seen the growth firsthand.
We started with one Summer Games event. Now we have 240 competitions, 17 different sports, and we operate our competitions in 17 areas all across the state.
It all started earlier this week when law enforcement ran the ceremonial torch all across the state, stopping in Little Rock Thursday before making their way to Searcy and Harding University for the opening ceremonies.
Our athletes come ready to play. They also love joining their friends from all over the state. At opening ceremonies, it's great to hear everybody screaming and cheering on each other, getting ready for that full day of competition.
Those competitions were in full swing on Friday, and though a few were sadly rained out on Saturday, that didn't take away anyone's enthusiasm.
There you go.
Or ruin what was still an incredible weekend.
Special Olympics as a whole is an amazing organization for people with and without intellectual disabilities. It teaches you leadership skills and just life skills as a whole, and I highly recommend it.
Carter Thweet, 5 News.
Downtown Bentonville Inc. hosted an appreciation lunch for first responders to say thank you for their service and efforts in the aftermath of last year's Memorial Day tornado outbreak. More than 250 firefighters, police officers, and other emergency personnel were on hand for yesterday's luncheon in downtown Bentonville. This Monday will mark 1 year since the tornado outbreak happened. The storm left behind a trail of destruction in towns like Rogers, Decatur, and Centerton. This Monday, we'll have a special edition of your 5 News First at 4, reflecting on last year's tornado outbreak and the road to recovery that's followed. You can watch it this Monday right here on Channel 5 at 4. We're following new developments tonight in the case of a Cave Spring man accused of putting a camera in a woman's restroom. Richard Copeland was arrested last month after a hidden camera was found in the bathroom of a local business. Copeland faces a video voyeurism charge, and tonight we've learned he's filed new court documents asking the case to be dismissed. In the filing, Copeland questioned the constitutionality of the proceedings. He says Washington County Court lacks jurisdiction, alleging the involvement of federal agents in the investigation, and is asking the case to be moved to the Supreme Court. He is also asking for $5 million in damages and all seized property to be returned. The court hasn't issued any response to the filings yet. Copeland's next court day is this Wednesday. As the debate over plans to bring a prison to Franklin County continues, a group of community members opposing the prison screened a film this weekend focused on the impact prisons can have on rural communities. The screening was hosted by Arkansas Justice Reform Coalition and Gravel and Grit and happened just steps away from the proposed prison site. Organizers say this event will be just the beginning of their effort to shine a light on the issue.
We formed because we felt like rural voices aren't really being heard around the state, and cases like this are clearly being ignored, and we wanted to do something about it.
The state has already set $75 million aside for the prison's construction. Contractors for the project were chosen earlier this month.